Those generational differences make a difference to today's employers, according to Amy Lynch, Generation Y expert, who spoke to a standing room only crowd at the National Society for Human Resource Managers meeting in Nashville last week. Upper Cumberland managers have a high level of interest in attracting and retaining this new generation of employees, known as Generation Y.
That is because each generation is very different. The matures, born between 27 and 46, were the people who won World War II, and after doing the hard work of winning World War II, came home, had babies every 17 seconds for 20 years, and we got baby boomers. All 80 million of us. We were huge. We hit the workplace in mass, and we rocked. Then we got old, but not before we gave the workplace that very special gift that was the 100-hour work week. Gen X showed up, and you guys had a couple of different ideas. You knew about technology. You changed the level of productivity, but the big idea you had was balance. Work-life balance. Now, I've only got one beef with you Xers. It's that you went ahead and told Gen Y about it before they were ready to know. I have a couple of Gen Yers at home, and when one of them was 10, she walked in. I said, "Please take out the garbage." She said, "Mom, I haven't had any self-actualization time today." That's my only beef with you Xers. Because Gen Y didn't just talk about it. Gen Y took it to heart. And now they're working for us. And we have to figure out what to do about that.
Ms. Lynch cited several differences in Generation Y.
They grew up in a very baby-centric era. It was the 1990s, and we were all worried about children, and we didn't want to raise any more latchkey kids like you Xers out there. We didn't want to do that again. We wanted to raise children with whom we were more involved. It was just a time when parents were afraid, much more afraid for their children. And so parents stepped in close. We talked to them on the cell phone 42 times every day. We stayed very close. First generation in history raised entirely by cell phone. People said it couldn't be done.
Ms. Lynch suggested that the task will require new approaches for managers.
It's spelled out very clearly in this research, and it makes sense. It's not necessarily that they want every idea that they have to be followed, but they do want to know they were heard. When they were growing up, boomers like me said, "Where do you want to go to dinner? What do you want on your pizza?" We gave them lots of choices. As opposed to my mom, when I was growing up, that's like, "Eat it, we're done." What we have is a group that expects dialogue. The best you can do is give them that template for leadership that they're looking for.
Asserting that Generation Y needs both high touch and high tech, Ms. Lynch had some helpful advice to offer those attending.
This is a very programmed generation. In high school, they took 14 AP courses, played 4 sports, fenced in their spare time, spoke 3 languages, and started a business on the side. You've read their resumes. You know what I'm talking about. So time, turns out, is the new money. And flexibility is your very first thing you want to look at in terms of retaining them.
Ms. Lynch asserts that there's a great deal more to be learned about Generation Y if we're going to work effectively with this generation, and that employers today should have about 22% of their workforce coming from those born after 1980. It's a growing demographic that will be increasingly of interest to area employers. This is Lisa Norris reporting for UCDailyNews.com.